So today we're tackling a really big myth.
A huge one.
It's this idea that success is all about getting the initial setup just perfect.
Right. But our sources show it's actually the opposite. It's all about what we're calling the art of correction.
Which is a very counterintuitive idea.
It is. And there's probably no better way to demonstrate this than, well, the paradox of a commercial flight.
Oh, I love this metaphor.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on a plane, let's say London to New York.
Yeah.
The wild thing is that the plane is technically off course almost 100% of the time.
The entire time.
Yeah.
The only reason you perceive this perfect straight journey is because the autopilot is making thousands of tiny...
Thousands of little adjustments to the controls every single second.
Exactly. And if you think about that, you see it mirrored everywhere, even in biology.
How so?
Well, life itself is constant retroactive adjustment. Think about your DNA. Errors happen all the time when your cells divide. If the system just relied on the initial genetic code, the setup, without constant repair, life would just fail. Instantly.
So our bodies are correcting in real time, constantly.
Constantly.
So if correction is fundamental to mechanics and biology, why are we so obsessed with the perfect plan?
Well, that gets us to the planning paradox.
This is the Eisenhower quote, right? Plans are nothing. Planning is everything.
Exactly. But what's fascinating is how the sources explain why that distinction is so critical.
Okay.
The plan you make is basically obsolete the second it hits reality.
The second it meets the market or an opponent.
So the true value of all that planning isn't the document you produce. It's building the mental muscle, the cognitive infrastructure to respond when it all goes wrong.
You're training for the inevitable correction.
And training for the correction.
And this is where so many businesses get it wrong, this setup versus correction idea.
Totally. The classic error is trying to solve demand volatility with more inventory.
Right, the setup solution. If we just stock enough, we'll be safe. But hold on, how does that make you vulnerable? It sounds like the safest possible move.
It feels safe, but all that inventory just consumes your cash. It kills your liquidity and, most importantly, your agility.
So you're too slow to respond.
You can't respond. The really resilient organizations, they have correction built right into their DNA. It's not about hiring smarter people.
It's about the wisdom.
It's about building feedback loops where people are rewarded for telling the truth about what's actually happening in the market. You're constantly listening.
Okay, so that's the organizational level. Let's bring this down to us as individuals. What's the biggest thing that stops us from correcting?
I think we all know what it is. It's the ego.
The ego.
Yeah, and the sources really stress this need for unlearning, deliberately letting go of knowledge or practices that are just outdated.
I think everyone can relate to that. You hold on to that one spreadsheet that worked perfectly 3 years ago, even though the whole world has changed.
And that's the core of what they call the success trap.
The success trap.
Leaders and professionals in general, we default to the formulas that worked in the past. It's only natural.
Because if it worked then, it must still be the right way.
But choosing to unlearn, that takes real emotional courage. You're letting go of something tied to your identity.
And if you don't develop that personal agility, you become irrelevant pretty fast in the modern workforce.
Success is defined less and less by static credentials, like your degree. That's just the initial setup.
It's all about learning agility now.
Yeah, which raises a big question for you, the listener. What's the shelf life of your degree if the knowledge base shifts every 2 years?
Which is why top companies are all moving towards skills-driven models.
Because that capacity to self-correct, to apply new information in a totally new situation, that is the premium skill now.
So if we pull all this together, the central finding seems to be that we systematically overestimate the initial setup.
The plan, the degree, the org structure, all of it.
And at the same time, we criminally undervalue constant, swift, and guilt-free adjustment, the correction.
And the sources argue this is, at its heart, a culture problem, whether that's in a company or just in your own life.
So the biggest strategic move you can make
is to get rid of the stigma, remove the shame that's attached to correction.
So the act of correcting course isn't an admission of failure.
No, it's the ultimate act of strategic strength and resilience. Don't fear the correction, fear the refusal to make it.